Sorry about that. Now we're close to our tail end of our interview, and I don't know why that cut off. So I do have to apologize. All of a sudden, I just got the blue screen of death. So I just want you to go over the several questions that I had, because when you get married, you said that they have to do the feast for like several days. Is there any other items that they do that differ from the marital customs in the Philippines? Is there any other specialized like ritual that the husband and wife does during the ceremony? How does it differ from Christian traditions?
Yeah, that's so different from Christian traditions. In the olden times, it's very, very expensive. But now, the society now, they do practice an indigenous ritual and a Christian ritual. So that's how it is done. Some years ago, a cousin got married and he did a ritual. First, an indigenous ritual, and then they changed dress, and it was a Christian wedding with the gowns and the tuxedo. After it was done, they came back, they changed garb again, and the feast was not Christian. It was Cordillera and IP. So they had to butcher a cow, and something like that. And of course, there were dances, beating of the gongs, like that. So nowadays, it is more, those who can afford will have a Christian and an Igorot wedding. Those who opted for a cheaper wedding, they do the Christian wedding. That's it.
What we want to expand on, because we are on a tail end of our interview, is even now, indigenous people they have a very rich musical tradition, particularly when you do the flutes. Is the scale of pentatonic pretty much all over the world, right? I want you to go over that and how you're able to keep that tradition. And you had the different type of instruments, right? The ones that is like something like this small, and then how you're able to keep that today, because even now there's still a lot of musicians that come to. You're a musician. Your son is Bava Mitra, and you guys like metal a lot. Metal is quite a popular music format. So I want you to talk about that.
Yeah, because of the influence of pseudo culture, we come to know about about Western music. Country music and blues music is very popular here in the Cordillerans. So there was a term in the 50s, I'm a Benguet cowboy, like that. Benguet is a province of, and now all over caught up with, this country and Western and the blues, country Western blues. And lately, metal, in the 90s, metal. 80s and metal. The way I grew up in was, country music and blues.
So like Patsy Cline.
Because the blues, there is, the pentatonic scale is there in the blues. Yeah, the pentatonic scale is there. Also in country music, the pentatonic is there.
Yeah, because it's in your instrument. Can you talk about
it's the instruments? Yeah,
it's like this big. It's kind of like not a flute, but like piece of wood.
Also in country music, the rhythm, that rhythm, the gong, the beat is there. So they associated them with the rhythm. So if you come to a pub here, the band is playing country music. No, but they are dancing like this. And then there's a gong there, the spade. They beat the gong, and it is in cadence with this country music.
How does your desserts differ from the rest of the Philippines? Like maybe
you could. It was just yesterday. So this is at the Bebop Fencing Club.
There was a ritual yesterday. The secretary was there. So Baba's footwork, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so this is it. Yeah, this is the festive dance. Yeah.
So the thing is, just to provide context for the viewers, Bebop Fencing Club is basically like a HEMA enthusiast school.
No.
No?
No. Fencing means all types of stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, because you have saber, fencing, fiore de batalla, and then
yes,
your indigenous martial art as well. What else do you have?
Japanese.
yeah, Japanese arts, and we have Inordis.
And then Inordis.
Yeah, Inordis is our arts, but when you come up, that would be the thing that we would teach you. But of course, if you wanna join, you come to the Bebop Fencing Club. We could impart from that area. Yeah.
That's awesome. What
Yeah.
kind of desserts and confectionaries do you create? Like yung mga kakanin po ninyo?
Yeah, the same as in Ilocanja and the same.
The same.
Yeah, the same.
So it's like it really provides you energy when you're out there in the mountain. Diabetes.
Yeah, kamote. And then the kamote.
Yeah, the
kamote.
Right.
Sweets. Yeah.
Do you have gabi as well there?
Yes,
like
of course.
taro?
We do that. It just we have a gabi which is sticky gabi. We have that.
Just ate this morning.
That's what we for lunch.
Yeah, for lunch.
That's why your bones are so dense. That's where the nutrients come from. Is there anything else that you want to talk about? I've run out of questions, so I've run out of questions that they sent me. I mean, because I do want this to continue. I just want you to think about this as part one, essentially, of our.
Yes. What we want to impart is as an IP, worldwide, our traditions, culture, our ancestral domain, and our rights, living as an RP, and our self-governance has been disrespected by society in general.
Yeah.
So we want to be established in these areas. Our ancestral domain, we should have a say on that, because most of our ancestral domain were mined and dams were built on it, and communities, their land was confiscated and they were thrown out of their land, just like the American Indians, and they got this in the name of advancement of agriculture, everything. But in doing so, they bastardize our ancestral lands, and our human rights were violated. No, and one more thing, we must have to say on our governance, because we have our own customary laws and traditions, and which is the system of judiciary system or the existing laws in our land is very, very much foreign to us. Just like the American Indian,
right.
The American constitution is very, very much foreign to them.
Right.
So I'm speaking not only as an Cordillerans, but to all IPs in the Philippines and throughout the world. I'm speaking out. And one more thing, our right to govern ourselves. We have been denied that right to govern ourselves.
I mean, it's essentially the Cordilleran region is supposed to be a nation within the nation of the Philippines, but
Yeah, it's a nation, but no.
it's not how you're being treated at all. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the Regalian doctrine. You know, when the Spanish came, I named this island in the name of our king, Philip. And we are included in that. Even if we defeated them in battle, we're still included in that. Yeah. When the American came, the Treaty of Paris, we are included in the Treaty of Paris, which you should not be included because we were never defeated in battle. If you have a house, how can you sell our house if the house is some section of your house is not yours? You cannot sell it. So we see that the sentiment that we are having now here, we share it with all IPs worldwide.
Correct. So the Carino doctrine.
Yeah. And now in 1905, 1925, there was a called Carino Doctrine, which a tribal leader and a chieftain, Carino, filed in the U.S. Supreme Court the case that his ancestral land was grabbed by the Americans. And there was a decision who came out that there was an injustice did to the clan, so they're giving up the lands. Sadly, when the Commonwealth government led by Quezon came into existence, this doctrine by the U.S. Supreme Court was disrespected by the Commonwealth regime of Quezon. So up to now, this Carino doctrine have been used by IPs worldwide, by the Vietnamese IPs there in South America, and they won their case. But sadly, here we cannot employ that doctrine because our Supreme Court refute it. It's been refuted repeatedly.
That's why we have the IPRA.
So in 1997, the IPRA came into existence. But still, there are loopholes because Congress will declare, for example, Baguio. The Baguio City, they declared it that there are no ancestral land here in Baguio, being Baguio a chartered city. So that again dispossess a lot of, the IPs here.
What's the IPRA pa? Indigenous Peoples
Republic
Act, IPRA.
So in 1997, an IPRA law came about after 10 years in the making. It was championed by a Cordilleran senator. So the first senator of the Cordilleran, Flavier, Senator Flavier. It is the Indigenous People Republic Act of the Philippines. So it came about. So these basic rights, the right to ancestral domain, the human rights of to govern themselves, to right to have a say in governing themselves, the right in developing their domain, and to correct the historical injustices made through the centuries in these indigenous people.
That's my office.
So that's the office of my son.
NCIP.
Yeah, he is the chief of staff of Commissioner Kaya of the NCIP. So
the secretary.
That's what I've been. I'm an activist since 1972. I've been working on this. So that's it.
Well, thank you very much. This has been a very, very enlightening interview. I was just checking if there's any more questions, and that's it. I do hope this continues. Just think about this as the part one, and we'll try to get you again in the next upcoming months. We are fully booked pretty much until May, so I'll try reaching out. we'll find space for you, sometime around May or June, and then bring your other people there. I'm sorry, Ariel didn't get to speak. I'm sorry, Ariel didn't get to speak. I got to ask him a question, but he didn't. Some problem with his connection. So, thank you very much. Maraming po salamat.
Hey, bro.
Okay.
Sige, bye.
Babanam. Babanam kay Balam.
Julius, see you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.